Good morning, you guys. It is 9 a.m.-ish Central. I'm Trisha Turner. This is Rise and Thrive. Rise and Thrive is a weekly podcast coming to you now in our fourth year running every Tuesday with someone new. And this podcast has now been named, we started off Anything But Average. That was the first podcast, and it ran for about a year and a half consistently. And then the next session we rebranded and we're on a different platform, and it was Walk Away Wealthy in Knowledge. And then I took a little bit of a hiatus, a few months at the end of 2023, I think. I don't know, the times like run together. And then I was like, you know what? This is still such a need to bring you guys this message every week because there's so many people out there who have a story to tell. And I was like, I'm going to bring this back, even though it's a heavy load on me. I'm going to do it because it matters. And so I renamed it, and it is Rise and Thrive. Rise up. We all are here to thrive and live in abundance. And so this podcast is centered around the four principles that are most important to my life, which are faith, family, finances, and fitness, and pretty much in that order. And so every week I'm going to bring to you somebody who is a success story, who is out there making a difference in the world. And it's somebody that sometimes I know them, sometimes I don't, but this morning I do. And I'm super excited to bring Ashley Polito to you guys because she's such a soul and a giver and a force in life and in our industry. And I want to bring her on here so she can share her story. Good morning, Ashley.
Good morning, Trisha. Thank you for having me.
Yes, super excited that you're here. You guys, Ashley is living and has been living her best life ever. And it's so crazy because I'm one of those that I'm flying by the seat of my pants half the time and off the hip and unedited. And Ashley is the opposite. She's a planner. She's organized. She's methodical. Everything in structured. And I absolutely love it. Ashley, for those that don't know you, can you tell them what you do for a living and where you are in the world?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you again, Trisha, so much for having me this morning. This is such a treat. So I am coming to you live from Dallas, Texas, and I am the host and producer of a show that you have been on, which was so fun to have you on, called America's Real Estate Show. And we shoot that live in Chicago every single Friday. So I travel to Chicago. I hop on a plane every Thursday and we shoot the show in front of a live audience on Friday. And then I come back to Dallas and here we are.
And that's crazy, you guys. So when you listen to that, like she's the traveler every week, she's doing this and she's putting it together in front of a live audience, which in itself is challenging. But Ashley, you've also got to get the lineup going. You've got the content going. There's a lot of behind the scenes. But before you go there, talk to us about the show. Like, where did this originate? What is the purpose? And why are you so driven to make this such a huge success?
Oh my gosh, that is such a great question, right? I mean, because I feel like you'll hear me say time and time again that I feel like every person has their zone of genius and everybody has a passion within their heart, within their soul. And for me, the opportunity to have the show is all about what you actually were mentioning at the very beginning. I feel like everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has a journey. And I also am so passionate about each person on this planet having an opportunity to be the very best that they can be and live the very best life that they can, whatever that looks like for them. So America's Real Estate Show is all about bringing the best of the best from across the nation to our studio in Chicago. And these are the best of the best real estate agents across the nation, bringing them to Chicago so that they can truly share their secrets to success with everybody else. So it's a very collaborative environment, and the agents that we have on the show obviously are all about giving back, and they too want to help others advance in their careers. So it's all about community and collaboration.
I love that. Now the show, it's fairly new. When was your start date?
It is. It is so new. We started in December. So
that's what I thought. It's like,
yes. So we're coming up this Friday will be our 13th episode. So we are just getting things going, and we have already had so many amazing people on the show. And I'm just so, so grateful. Shout out to everybody who's already been on the show. Thank you so, so much. I mean, we couldn't do it without you.
Okay, for one, I just had someone tell me that I'm blurry. So I just got comfort. Ashley said it when we went on that I'm blurry. So I don't know what's going on my side. We've had like internet issues here like crazy. They cut our cable. So I'm thankful that Ashley's not blurry. So y'all see me every week. So we all make sure and focus on Ashley. Maybe my side will become unblurry, but thankfully, Ashley, you're not.
Oh,
All right.
no.
Yeah, it's okay though. Let's keep moving. So, Ashley, the show being kind of new, or it is new. Prior to the show, like what inspired this? Is this something that you have done before? Have you been like out there producing? Tell us a little bit of your backstory.
Sure. Great question. So, really, what I was doing right before this opportunity came along is I was in the title industry, and I started out as a sales rep. And to make a very long story short, we all remember COVID, and COVID truly was rocket fuel. I mean, it was rocket fuel for my business and my creativity. And I just looked at it as a huge opportunity. So when the world shut down, that's when my creative mind just really kicked into gear. You know, I think a lot of us sometimes just need an opportunity to rest our mind, and that's when we are flooded with ideas. And so I came up with this idea to really take all of the training that I had been doing for our real estate community online. And that was not anything I had ever done before. I just knew that I needed to find a solution to a problem, which I also love to do. So the problem in front of us was the world had shut down, right? Everybody was at home, but we still needed to figure out a way to continue on with our business, and how were we going to do that? So that was number one. Number two is I think everyone felt very alone and very isolated, very scared. You know, they didn't know what was going on. How are they going to continue with their business and making a living? So I really just kind of started, literally, I can remember being in my kitchen, just making phone calls to people that I knew. And I said, hey, I've got this idea. What do you think? You know, would you be willing to try this with me? And so I started just kind of hand selecting different experts in the industry to teach. And that's really how it started. And so it started as a Zoom call, you know, with a couple of agents. And then word got out and it started to spread. And then it literally just took off. And so then, you know, fast forward, I mean, truly, I ran that program for about 4.5 years. And we had agents truly, not just in DFW where I am, but agents from many, many, many other states who would hop on and join us. And I always wanted it to be a good time. So if anyone knows me, or when you get to know me, I love to have fun. I love to just bring great energy to anything and everything that we're doing. And so I wanted it to be a place, again, a community on Fridays where people felt energized, they felt hopeful, they felt like they had a community of cheerleaders around them, and all at the same time, they would leave that hour and a half that we had together, really walking away with information and nuggets that would truly help them advance their business.
And so you guys, we have mutual friends, of course, which is how Ashley and I met. I have heard, I never was on one of the trainings because I didn't know about it, or I definitely would have, but I've heard from a couple of my friends that were part of that. Didn't you, or weren't you up to like 1,000 people on these sessions?
We did. We did. It was just wild. And again, I mean, from across the US, who would just hear about it and they would hop on. And so that again is just, I hope that what everyone hears is that's just a testament to all of the many different agents who gave of themselves and their time. One is Chad Smith, a very good friend of ours. He was always a fan favorite, because he is just such an amazing person and had so many wonderful things to share, and he continues to do so, in his community, Rural Solutions. And so I had him on many, many times, and it was always about, at the end of that hour and a half, I wanted agents to feel like, okay, I have at least one thing that I've learned today that I can put into practice to advance my business. And yeah, that's why I think it was such a success, because it was a community and people felt that love and that energy, and that we really were there to help them to do better.
Did you find it challenging during that time? Because 4.5 years is a long time to run something. Did you find it challenging during that time to find guests to bring value each and every time, something different?
You know what? There's always research, right? And that's the same thing that I do today with America's Real Estate Show. I take that very seriously, because I want, again, the intention that I always set with every show is that I want to be a vehicle to help that person, that top producer, really tell their story and be able to communicate exactly the steps that they've taken to be successful. So I take that part of my job very seriously. I do a lot of research to find who I feel is going to be a great fit, because not everybody loves getting in front of the camera. Not everybody loves teaching. There are so many people, in this world who are massively successful, and you have to just kind of find that right combination of the person who has a servant's heart, the person who loves to teach, the person who loves to give back. So there really is a combination that goes into figuring out, who's going to be great to have on the show.
Yeah. When you look in the real estate industry, as you know, because you've been in title, you're in our industry, the failure rate is so high. I mean, they say it's 89%. I think it's higher. I think it's around 91%. And these people, agents, fail usually within the first 2 years. Me being doing this now for 20 years, a little over 20 years, I know all those realities, because I've seen agents come and go, and still to this day, even with the training that we provide, they're out of the industry. So for 4.5 years, you were part of this training platform, bringing agents together, bringing people that are training them. What would you say overwhelmingly were some of the common characteristics that you were seeing these people teach and train in during that time?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Honestly, and I know this is kind of wild to think about, there are so many different topics that you can teach on when it comes to the real estate industry. And I think that each person, like we were saying at the very beginning, has their own zone of genius. And
Yeah.
so I feel like that is, again, that's part of my job that I take incredibly seriously, is to really help that person, that top agent, that top producer, drill down into what is your specific zone of genius. So for you, when we had you on the show, you immediately were like, oh my gosh, listings. Listings is what I love. Listings is what I'm passionate about. Listings is what I can teach on. And you have a very specific formula that you teach. And so that was so fun and energizing for me when we were doing our pre-show prep, to learn not only about your story, but truly what gets you fired up. And that's what gets you fired up in this business. And each person is just dramatically different. Last week on the show, when we had Cruston, his passion is truly his heart for gratitude. And he has built this $300 million business without buying one lead. His entire business is referral based, and he has a massive program all centered around heart and generosity. And so it's just fascinating. That's what I love. I just have, I think, this this curiosity for people, for human beings, and what really fills their heart and what their zone of genius is. So each person is different. And so I truly couldn't say that there was a top, 5 list of any particular topic. I always just go down the lane of what is that person's zone of genius, because they're massively successful for a reason. And it's my job to kind of uncover what that looks like for them.
I think that's so cool. Like this, I'm the same. We're very similar where we love to hear people's stories. And when I think back, especially, and I think it comes from a passion, with me, it was being a single mom and having 3 little kids and in the real estate industry. And, the mortgage industry had crashed. And it was like, I got to feed my kids. I got to pay my mortgage. I got to make this happen. And I bought leads. We still do buy online leads. That's how I've always generated business. But it was trying to find that secret formula of success that doesn't exist. It's really hard work and doing the right things in the right order and aligning yourself with the right people. But so few people share or are willing to share their stories and their success things. And one of the things that drove me and continues to drive me is that I would see someone more successful or at a different place in their life where I maybe want to be. And I look at them and I think, if they can do it, so can I. Like, yes, you can, because the mind will tell you, no, you cannot. Like, you can't do that. And you can't make 7 figures. You can't make 8 figures. But yes, you can. You can do all things. And it became overwhelmingly important to get the message out there. And the more you hear people's stories, and especially you get the honor of sitting, face to face with them in person, you realize when you're listening to them and hearing their story, usually they do have a story to tell. It comes from some kind of pain, some kind of trauma, something that's made them drive like that. But then to get out there, like for me, I'm just up every day trying to make it happen. I don't think like, oh, look at me, and ever. And I want people to be able to be at their highest potential. I want them to be able to never worry about their bills and never worry about not having enough, because we're supposed to thrive. I think one of our biggest challenges is finding the people that are willing to share that. How have you found, because you're very successful at it, and not only are you very successful at it, but you go deep into learning their soul and their mission. Where does that come from with you? Like, because it's not something that's fake. It is genuine, and it's a character trait that you have, and it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Trisha. Gosh, you know what? Again, I think I just kind of go back to, we all have a zone of genius. For me, and I know for you as well, my faith is incredibly important to me. And so if you don't mind me, talking just a minute about my faith, there's no way that I could do the role that I am in without being guided truly by the Holy Spirit. I mean, so for me, it is truly the Spirit. It's like the Spirit moves me in one direction or another, and that's really where my focus is. And the Spirit and my faith really help me figure out what is deep inside of each person's heart, and just really listening and asking a lot of questions. And people will share their story, and you just have to be really patient. At first, I think that it kind of starts off with more facts. And then as you continue to have that conversation with someone, then that's when the emotional connection happens. So it's really kind of getting out of the doing part of it, if you will, kind of the intellectual side, and really leading someone down the path into the emotional side. So it's getting someone to really open up and trust you and go down that emotional journey, so that's when they can really open up their heart and share not only their story, but that's when their passion truly comes out. So I hope that answered your question.
It does. When you were doing the previous show that you did, it was for 4.5 years, and then that ended. Was there a hiatus in between that and the real estate show?
You know what? There was a little bit of a hiatus, not much. So
Okay.
again, going back to my faith and truly believing that God really does work everything out. I know a lot of people, sometimes that's really hard to hear, especially if you're in the midst of something that's really challenging and you're wondering, well, how is this going to get worked out? Because right now it just feels really yucky.
Yeah.
And so there was a little bit of a hiatus for me, and I just had this dream and this passion in my heart. I knew that what we had when we were holding this program via Zoom, I knew that it was something that I wanted to take nationwide because I wanted to help as many agents as I possibly could. I
Yeah.
felt like, man, this is awesome that we started in the Dallas Fort Worth area, but there are people all over, right, all over the nation
Yes.
who want to be part of a community like this and who want to get better in their career. And so if I had the opportunity to do that, I sure would love to. And so one of the scriptures that comes to mind is when God just puts things on your heart and he delivers more than you could ever ask or think or imagine. And that's exactly what he did for me. And back to Chad. Chad's like part of our show today. Um, Chad Smith, he was the one who introduced me to Eddie Garcia and just thought, you know what, you should know Eddie. And of course, whenever anyone meets Eddie Garcia, how could you not just think the world of him? I mean, he is an amazing leader, his energy, his story. And I sat and listened, and there were so many key buzzwords, right, for me that landed in my heart, empowerment, inspiring, movement. And I was like, man, I want all those things. I want to be part of a movement. I want to inspire people. I want to empower people. I wanted to be part of that journey. So I just feel incredibly grateful that I met Eddie and he learned about my story and what I was doing. And, he's such a visionary. And I think, it just got him excited. He was like, gosh, you know what? And I know Eddie, I'm sure he was already thinking about, producing some type of show. And so I'm just incredibly grateful that we met. And, and this goes back to what I'm so passionate about. If I had not had someone like a Chad Smith in my life, if I had not had an Eddie Garcia in my life that saw something and said, gosh, you know what? I think you would be a great vehicle for this vision, right? I think we all need people in our life who can be our cheerleaders and who can truly believe in who we are, in our talents, far more than we probably believe in ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And we need that person to say, no, you're worth it. You're worth it. And so I'm just incredibly grateful that they did that for me and gave me this opportunity. And now I feel like I get to turn around and give that right back to every single top producer who's on our show to help them tell their story so that we can then help the masses across the nation so that when they're listening to the show, I hope that they are feeling empowered and inspired and hopeful. And they take at least one thing from each episode and they turn it into something amazing with their business. Because I know when people win in their business, they're winning in their life.
Yep.
And when they're winning in their life, they become unstoppable. And that's what really drives me.
And I told you yesterday when I talked to you, it's like, you never know what the next question is going to be because I'm listening to everything that you're saying. And it's like, honestly, Ashley, you are doing God's work. And I think it's one of the most beautiful things in the world. Since COVID happened, the real estate industry has never been the same. We went through that little small shutdown. We're here in Texas. It was small anyway. And then all of a sudden it was like, the wild, wild west. Homes were selling like crazy. We didn't have a clue what was going on. Everybody was living, fat and high on the hog and selling lots of homes, making a lot of money. And then interest rates started to creep up. And that was in June of 2022. And the market forever changed. And now we're in March 2025. almost 3 years later, and the market is still relentless. And in this last 2 years, especially, we've seen title companies go out of business, lenders go out of business, real estate companies go out of business, top producers not sell homes. 71% of agents in 2024 did not sell one single home. What you are doing, and they say, Ashley, that the data shows that if people will take just one thing, like you just said, from a conference or a seminar or a workshop and actually implement it, it will change their business. You're doing that. You started off for 4.5 years delivering a training, a platform, a program to motivate, to inspire, to train agents to do more, to be more, to be to their fullest potential. Who knew you would meet Chad Smith, who is a big believer. He's very faith-based. He's a personal friend of mine. He's a personal friend of yours. God brought Chad and I together years ago at another company. He brought y'all together. And now here we are in 2025, all of us together within the same organization, with the same people, doing the same thing, trying to help others live to their fullest potential via real estate. I think it's amazing what you're doing, Ashley.
Oh, thank you, Trisha. It truly is an honor. Every morning that I wake up, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this is what I get to do. And it just goes back to, I know I'm not quoting the scripture exactly, how it is written, but the basis of the scripture is, that God truly will give you more than you could ever think, dream, or imagine. And that is what He's done for me. And I just want everyone to stay hopeful, right? That's one of the biggest lessons that I take from both my parents, my mom especially. She always says to me, I think on a daily basis, you can't ever, ever, ever give up, and you always have to have hope. And I think that she just really instilled that in me, growing up. And still, like I said, to this day, every single day she says that to me. And I think it's just a reminder, because life is hard. It just is. Life is hard. We have wonderful moments in our life. We have happiness in our life. We have love in our life, but we also have hard. And so in those moments, that's when we just really have to remember, we can't ever give up. We always have to keep the faith. We have to stay hopeful, and you just have to absolutely keep going. You have to keep going. That's it. You just have to keep going.
Yesterday, and I read every morning, and I read scripture, and I don't write every single morning because I'm not one that sits still and like, so it's just not my thing. But I did write yesterday in my journal, and it was crazy. One of the things that I wrote was, because I always believe in starting your week, writing your priorities and what you're focused on for the week. And I write this often, that one of my top priorities is to get a deeper relationship with God. And I say that not because I don't have a great relationship. I say that because, again, the last 2 years especially have been really hard in our industry. I run a big organization, and so we're just like bleeding money out every single day. And so anxiety can become a big thing, and doubt and fear and all of the things that we're not supposed to focus on. Yesterday, so I wrote that yesterday morning. I wanted to have this deeper relationship with God, and I always pray, bring the right people in my life and weed out those that shouldn't be there. I say that every day. Yesterday, I'm on a Zoom at 4:00, and I'm on from 4 to 5. It was a business Zoom with a friend of mine and then another real estate guy. We're talking about big stuff, right? We get off the Zoom, and it's all about business. Get off the Zoom, and my friend that was on the Zoom with me calls me, and we're talking, like recapping how the Zoom went. And then all of a sudden, I don't even know how it shifted, but it shifted to God and spiritual and faith and anxiety and relationships. And he shared his story that I didn't know. And he shared a lot of things that I didn't know, all faith-based and all things that he's been through and what led him to have this amazingly deep relationship with God, and how he has such peace now and happiness and abundance. And he doesn't live in fear and anxiety, despite what the market is doing, despite the things that we're going through. And I told him when we got off the call, we were on the phone for about an hour. And I told him when we got off the phone, I said, I wrote in my journal today that I wanted to have a deeper relationship with God. And I said, perhaps you are that vessel. Perhaps you are my path to that. And who knew that this call that we were on today was about real estate, but it turned into this. And what you did with by meeting Chad and running your show for 4.5 years, and now you're doing this. Like, who knew? He knows. He always knows. But we sometimes don't recognize those steps and connect the dots until we sit back and we're like, oh, wait a second. Now I see it. Do you feel that with the real estate show?
Oh my gosh, 100%. I mean, there's so many analogies that we could use, right? I mean, like thinking about a tapestry, how on one side it just looks like a complete mess, and then you turn it over and it's the most beautiful piece of art that you've ever seen. And that's how I feel our life is, and what God does with our lives, right? It's like so many times we can feel like our life is just an absolute complete mess, but then the other side is so incredibly beautiful. I also know, I mean, being, a high achiever, just like you are, just like every top producer that I interview, right? I think that we have just like this internal just engine, right? There's just something in us that is constantly driving us towards excellence. And I think that can be really challenging for achievers.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we feel like, well, when is enough ever enough, right? And so it's not really about I don't know how to say this, right? It's not kind of about the achievement. For me, it's always about being in excellence and helping other people tell their stories to help others be in excellence. So it's never like one thing that I'm aiming to achieve. It's just living in that place of abundance and excellence, and figuring out and trying my best on a daily basis to figure out, like, okay, Lord, like where do you want me today? Who can I help today? Whose message can I help share today? So really, for that, I always encourage people, and I have to do it for myself, is taking the time to really have that heart connection. We have to take time for ourselves to be connected, heart, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. There's so much that goes into that, in being able to show up in this world and be the best that you can be. I hope that answers your question.
It does. I think about one of the things that my friend was talking about yesterday when we were having this conversation was ego, and like killing your ego and getting rid of it, because that's not what God wants. Like, that is not, we're not supposed to have ego and pride and none of that stuff. We're supposed to be here. Everything is his, right? And so we're just blessed to be able to live the life that he gives us, and all of our steps are already planned. And I listen to what you're saying. And, you bring people on the real estate show every week, and it's somebody different. And some of these people, a lot of the world has never heard of. A lot of people in their own market have never heard of, yet they're doing amazing things. And you're recognizing them and then bringing them on a national platform, because everybody wants to feel wanted. Everybody wants to feel needed. Everybody has that inner desire. And it's not a pride thing. Maybe they've been through traumas or whatever, and they just want to feel part of something. Everybody wants to feel part of something. And now you get the opportunity to do it every week and bring someone there and have them shine, and not just shine, but then they are giving and they're inspiring others, because people in your audience, whether they're in person or online, they're watching. And if you just get one person to believe that they can go out and do that too, then you've done it. You have, number one, changed the world. I get up every day and I say, I just want to change the world one person at a time, one day at a time. That's what you're doing, Ashley. That is what you're doing.
Thank you, Sarah. Yes.
So cool.
It's so true. I mean, there are just so many amazing stories out there. And the fact that we, like you just said so beautifully, the fact that we get to bring them to Chicago and have them feel so special. It's like, we want every single person who comes to feel like an absolute celebrity. You know what? Because they are so special. They're so unique. They have so much to offer and give to others. And the fact that they get to share their story. And again, back to their secrets to success, the fact that they're willing to share and really break down for agents across the nation, hey, here's what I'm doing right now. And I think that's another important factor that I would love to emphasize about the show, is that I'm very intentional when we're doing our pre-show prep, when I'm visiting with the agent who's coming on, is to really focus on what is working for you right now, not what was working, even a year ago or 6 months ago. What is working right now for you in your business? Because we want to give other agents hope, and we want to give them the tools and the strategies and the playbooks that they need in order to be successful. I want them to, when that show ends and we wrap it up, I want them to have at least one thing that they can go implement in their business. It's going to be a total and complete game changer for them. And so it's been very cool, when I come every week and we are shooting it in front of a live audience. So I have the opportunity to visit and see so many agents face to face, and hearing them share, oh my gosh, I loved it when you had Trisha on because she really helped me do X, Y, and Z. I loved when you had Kyle on. And so for them to really share back, very specific names of agents who have been on the show and things that they've taken and implemented into their business, to see all of that come to life, that's what just keeps me going every single minute of every single day, to know that they are out there and they're making it happen. And that's exciting.
You've now spent hours, countless hours with real estate agents, which is number one. We're like squirrels, like we are all over the map. But you spend hours like researching and thinking of the right questions and the right topics and how to take that narrative. What would you say overwhelmingly are some of the top things that you've heard the same? Like, is there common things that you're hearing from these top producers on their secrets of success? Like, is there a morning routine? Can you share some of that?
Oh my gosh, that is such a great question. Well, I would say, if I had to summarize, but again, each person is different. Everybody has their zone of genius. However, success leaves clues. I know that is a little bit of a cliche to say, but it is true. Success leaves clues. And so the things that are coming just immediately to mind is all of the top producers are working on themselves personally. They are reading a ton. They all have favorite books that they read, whether it's reading a book or listening to it, listening to podcasts. They are always educating themselves. So that education never stops. So that personal growth, that personal development, you have to always be working on yourself, because that feeds into you not only becoming better, with who you are, that then spills over into anything and everything that you're doing, right? In your career, in your relationships, everything. So it's like, if we want to get better at fill in the blank, well, we have to go be an amazing student at that subject matter. So all the top producers I have seen are incredible learners, which makes them great leaders. So that's number one. Number two, I would say that they all get up incredibly early. Oh my goodness, like you. I think you get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So every single top producer I have met gets up incredibly early, 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m., 5 a.m. I mean, they are up and they are at it, right? They have a very strict schedule and they work their business like a business. So it's having that mentality of, I am the CEO of my business, and having that mentality and operating your business like a CEO. I mean, that right there is a game changer. And then I would say number three is they are never afraid to ask questions, and they're never afraid to reach out to other successful people, right? They're doing the same thing that we're modeling on the show. They're on the show giving their secrets to success, but they have to be learning themselves, right? So they're always reaching out to other people who are also high achievers. So that's what I would say, is that they always talk about shadowing as well. So for agents, they really encourage them, go find other top producers in your market. Do not be afraid to reach out and ask if you can shadow them, because there will be people who are willing to help you. You just have to be the one who has enough courage to pick up the phone and say, hey, do you mind if I shadow you? I've heard that you're amazing, right? So we have to take personal responsibility for our own life and our own success. And I think I just want everyone to know that all the top producers that we've had on America's Real Estate Show, and those that are still to come, and those that are out there in the world, there are people with just huge, massive hearts who are massively successful, who do want to help you. So have the courage, come on the show, right? Listen every single Friday at 11 a.m. Central, and then also have the courage to reach out to other top performers, in your own market, because I promise you will find, I say, right, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah.
You will find the right person who is the right person for you to help you have that inspiration that you're looking for, that you can shadow.
I love all of that. And while I was listening to you, I was thinking, you know what another cool thing is that especially right now where the economy is, challenged and people are financially in situations, I believe in coaching and everyone should have a mentor and a coach, but sometimes these coaches are getting, crazy amounts of money and a lot of people can't afford it. Your show is free. This is
Yes.
free coaching and training for people.
Yes, I'm so glad you said that, because gosh, that's just another part of my heart, right?
Yes.
And another reason why, 4.5, 5 years ago, I started the platform that I did, because to your point, I do believe everybody needs to surround themselves with wonderful people who are willing to help them get to the next level. And not everybody can afford a coach,
No.
I mean, coaching programs can be expensive.
Yeah.
And I'm that person out there who's like, yes, I believe in YouTube University. I believe in America's Real Estate Show that is free, where we are truly bringing top producers from across the nation onto our show to teach and educate. And this is all free. So I want every single person who's out there to have the same opportunity, right? Now it's up to you to take that opportunity and turn it into something, but the education and the knowledge is available to you. So now it's just up to you to take it and run with it. So thank you for bringing that up, because I'm a firm believer in that. We all have to have a coach. I love sports. I grew up, as an athlete. And so I think I'm just very used to that world of having a coach.
Yeah.
Even Michael Jordan had a coach, right? The best of the best. They all have somebody who is helping them to get better. So I hope that America's Real Estate Show can be that for every single agent who's out there, to tune in on Fridays, because you have the opportunity to learn from the best of the best.
You know what's cool is that a lot of times people that do have coaches or in coaching programs, sometimes their message gets redundant. And they're like, oh, I don't even want to talk to my coach. It's just the same thing every week. You are bringing someone different. If somebody wanted to be super successful or just change their habits or their work or their life, they, for free, could tune into your show every week and have someone new inspire and train them, someone that is successful at a higher level, training them for free.
No, 100%.
That is crazy.
And everybody, like we've been talking about, everybody has their own zone of genius, their different personality. And so that's why it's so important to have a great variety of people on the show, because you never know who's going to connect with that person who's in the audience and on the other side of the screen. So we all have different personalities. We're all going to gravitate to somebody different. Somebody's story is going to match their story, right? So I try really hard to have a great mix and variety of people. And because I just want everyone to have the opportunity to connect at a different level, right?
Yes.
So I know that's probably the most challenging when you go to a big conference and you have all these amazing speakers. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. You're like, oh my gosh, there's so many amazing ideas. And so I love that our show is on Fridays. So every single Friday you can tune in and it's someone different, and you can get somebody's perspective. And each week it is different. And I just always challenge people, take away what really resonated with you. Don't feel like you have to implement every single thing. Just really figure out what is resonating with you. And I do believe that you have to hear things multiple times. So the more and more you come, right, the more you're going to probably hear similar things. But when you are ready, right, there's a saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. When you are ready to hear that specific message, then on that Friday at 11 a.m. Central, that message has hit you like it maybe didn't before. And that's why it's so important to stay consistent and to keep coming.
I love that. And you guys, if y'all are in Chicago or heading to Chicago, again, they can go into the studio for free, can't they?
Oh, 100%. We love having people be part of our live studio audience, and it is open to anyone and everyone who's in the real estate industry. It's like bring friends. Again, you know me, the more the merrier. I'm all about it. We have music pumping. We just always have a great time, and it's just a ton of fun. And agents, and again, I know if you're not in Chicago, it's a bummer, but we do have a lot of people who travel from out of state who come. They want to come and be part of the show and be a part of the live studio audience, and so that's always super fun to have them. So yeah, it's just a great time.
I'm sure people are probably like, okay, well, if I'm not in Chicago and I can't get to the live audience, how can I see the show? So Ashley, how can they find the show?
Oh, that's such a great question. Yes, absolutely subscribe to our YouTube channel, America's Real Estate Show. So when you subscribe there, that's when you'll get all the alerts. As long as you're subscribed, you'll get alerted when we're going live. So that's really my favorite place to direct people, is go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to America's Real Estate Show, and then you'll always get alerted when we go live every Friday at 11 a.m. Central.
And can they go to your YouTube channel to see the previous episodes?
They 100% can. That is a great question. All of our past episodes are on there on our homepage. And there's also a special tab that says live. And so the majority of our past episodes are under that live tab because we go live. And so all of the videos and episodes that are on there are not pre-recorded. They are all from our live feeds. So make sure you click either the home or the live tab.
So real estate agents, y'all are our biggest viewers. This show goes all over the place, this podcast. There's no excuse for you not to be living your best life. There's no excuse for you not to be reaching your fullest potential in real estate. Right now, we just shared with you where you can get free coaching, free mentoring, all from a different top producer every single week, coming to you, sharing literally what they're doing in their business, like Ashley said, today, to be successful, to work during this challenging market, wherever you may be in the world. Ashley, I think it's the coolest thing in the whole world. Tell everybody again where they need to go to find your show.
Thank you, Trisha. Yes, please go to our YouTube channel, America's Real Estate Show, subscribe, and you will always get alerted when we go live on Fridays at 11 a.m. Central.
Ashley, are you also open to maybe some real estate top producers or brokers reaching out to you to maybe be a guest on your show?
Oh my gosh, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. You know me, I love meeting people. I love hearing stories. If you have a servant's heart and you have something to share, I would love to hear from you. I mean, everyone has something to share, right?
Yes.
But again, not everyone is comfortable getting in front of the camera. But if you're that person and you're like, yes, put me on stage, I want to be on the show, and you want to teach and you really want to get down deep, right? Because I love going deep with the strategies. If that is you and that's resonating with you, I would absolutely love to hear from you.
How can they find you, Ashley? What is the best method for them to contact you?
Yes, I would say DM me. So definitely go hop on my Instagram, right? Ashley J Polito. Ashley J Polito, hop on my Instagram and just shoot me a DM. And I would absolutely love to hear from you. That would be the easiest way.
Y'all, in this challenging market that we've been in for a couple of years, not often do you find someone that's out there pouring their heart out to everyone, sitting back, really devising an amazing show to deliver no fluff. Like, this is straight content. This is straight stuff to help you grow your business. This is something that is going to be around forever, and it's going to continue to grow. And it's brought to you by Ashley, of course, which is just absolutely amazing. Final thoughts, Ashley, about the show, the real estate market 2025, whatever you want to end this with.
Oh my goodness, Trisha. Well, I just want to thank you again so much for having me on your show today. Thank you again for coming on America's Real Estate Show and really shining a light on what we're doing. And so I think that's really, how I would love to just wrap it up, is that I want everyone out there to know that that's what we want to be, right? We want to be a light and an inspiration, hope, empowerment. We want to be all those things for agents across the nation. And that's why I'm so grateful. Again, shout out to Eddie Garcia for your vision and your leadership. I just want to thank him. And I do every time I see him, every minute of the day. I just pinch myself that I can't even believe that I have the opportunity to do this. And I'm just so grateful, because I am here to help others change their life. That's what this is all about. Let's go make a difference for one another. Let's be a part of something bigger than ourselves. Let's be a part of an amazing movement. And I want everyone to win in their life. And so I hope that they will tune into America's Real Estate Show to learn from these top producers who are so willing and excited to share their heart and share their strategies.
Ashley, you couldn't have ended it any better. That was like absolutely perfect. I'm sorry, guys, that I'm blurry. Again, they cut our fiber optic cable, and so under construction here. So at least Ashley was clear, and that's what we wanted you guys to see today anyway and hear from, because the real estate show that she's referencing, you guys, will help you grow your business. It's free. It's on YouTube. You got to get on there, subscribe, so you hear every Friday who's going to be on and what it's going to be about, and then go watch the previous episodes, because this is real stuff to help you grow your business. It's going to get better. The purpose of this podcast every week is to bring you hope. That is my purpose every day, is to bring hope to not just real estate, but to you guys out there in the real estate and other industries, because yes, it can be challenging, but together we can do all things better. So tune in next week to the next episode of Rise and Thrive. We're to definitely rise up every day and thrive. You guys have an awesome day. Thank you so much, Ashley.
Thank you, Trisha.
Bye, y'all.